Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. This is Politics Tonight, where we dig beyond the headlines. And tonight we're focused on the coup in Niger and the dilemma of ECOWAS as the junta Dixon have been speaking with retired Colonel Samaila Yombe Dabai as our guest tonight. All right, Colonel, before we went on that break, we were talking about the suspension of Niger by the AU until the junta restores constitutional order. And in addition to that suspension, ECOWAS had earlier imposed sanctions on Niger. Now, do you think these are enough to dissuade the coup plotters?
It's one of the measures taken to dissuade the coup plotters on their bid. And I believe there is more to come. I believe the ECOWAS leadership put in place other measures that will bring about the rethink by the junta. I think already it's taking effect. They are complaining that of food shortages and medical facilities are backup is not available, and a whole lot of other things that, of course, makes life go on and they are missing. So I believe that measures is taking effect, and if they don't redress their actions, other measures will be taken diplomatically and other punitive measures apart from, I believe, the military action will be the last resort. And I pray hard that doesn't happen.
So another angle to this is the interest of outsiders, especially Western influence in the whole saga. How will you describe the impact of this on the crisis?
If you recall, a few minutes ago, I mentioned that there is likelihood of the Western or outsiders. Let's call them outsiders. I mean, they will influence, instigate the escalation of the situation to the extent that ECOWAS may have to end up using force. That will open that page that the outsiders will now come in as the merchants for materials. And of course, you don't have to spell out who those are. And they're busy right now trying to make sure that the war thing happens. Just want to urge ECOWAS and AU take whatever step is needed to make sure that we end up solving this Niger issue peacefully rather than using guns.
Well, let's come back to Africa, and I'd like us to talk about the positions of countries like Mali and Burkina Faso in the crisis. Don't you think they are complicating the conflict?
Let's come again.
I want us to talk about the positions of Burkina Faso and Mali. Don't you think they are complicating the conflict?
Well, they have the same. They are on the same shoes. Burkina Faso is the former Francophone country. Mali, so it's Niger, and of course, they were not ruled differently. Method of rulership by French in these various their colonies was the same. And the pain of the people is the same. And I think that's what misled the soldiers in these countries to do what they've done.
So the position of Nigeria as chairman of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government is very critical in the matter. How you advise President Tinubu to handle the matter?
Mr. President is wearing two caps. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and in charge of ECOWAS. Nigeria itself, we have our own crisis that Mr. President is working so hard to curtail. There we are again, the Nigerian, and in fact, foreign countries, not only the Nigerian country that is under the military rule. And I would advise Mr. President to use his wisdom and of course the other his colleagues that are available to come up with a more decisive, peaceful approach to solving the Nigerian from countries that are under the kind of military to back to essential. I believe that would be the way to go. And I would advise him also to pay serious attention at home. If you look at the dicey nature of the Niger issue, we share the same border with Niger. We have about four or five states, Nigerian states that share border with Niger. And these states that share border with Niger were just balkanized by the colonialists. They are all one and the same. But because the Berlin Conference that brought about balkanization of Africa just drew line as they wished, regardless of the various ethnic groups that make up an entity of these places. And unfortunate that they are balkanized by that system. And this makes the present situation much difficult. And I believe that Mr. President will use, like I said, wisdom to sort out the issue peacefully rather than going to war.
Colonel, since this conflict started, most stakeholders have called for adoption of diplomacy to resolve the crisis. But how can this be achieved with the junta digging in?
Like I said, there are a lot of other options available that they are yet to be adopted or used in seeing to the solution of the junta's digging in. Definitely, we have also exhausted all the avenues available to sort out the issue until these avenues have been exhausted. They themselves will know that well, they are getting themselves into trouble. And I will urge Excellency, the CAC, to himself and his colleagues to exhaust all the available avenues peaceful solution of the Nigerian problem.
All right. Thank you so much, Colonel, for your perspective on that very critical issue. Now, let's talk about your career as a military personnel. How did you become a pilot?
Well, the Nigerian Army have rooted the idea of creating an Army aviation unit. The mission of this unit was to provide close combat support for the infantry. Close combat support in the sense that they will train as part of the infantry. And the type of combat support to be provided will be firepower from the air by fighting closely to the infantry, evacuation of casualties, negotiating terrain that is difficult by land to a specific target. And of course, the overall area is to leave the strategic targets to the Air Force so that the soldier will be maneuvering in battle using his close combat air power. It was against this background that I was sent to train as a pilot, as a pioneer pilot. A few of us, I think about 3 or 4 of us were taking. I began training incidentally from a civilian school, Nigerian Civil Aviation Training Center in Zaria. I began to train there, and after that, I was sent to Boroka, Alabama. That was the Army Aviation Center, trained pilots to fly combat helicopters. And that's where I learned how to fly helicopters and fighter, so on. And
All right.
when we came back, the idea of forming that unit began, but unfortunately, it didn't see daylight.
So quickly before we go, Colonel, how did you come about manufacturing of armored personnel vehicles for the Army?
Well, during my training as a pilot, I did some other courses that goes along with aviation. I did airframe and engines. This airframe and engine training gave me the idea of fabricating body and constructions. And so when they started, the idea came to me when I saw how our soldiers were short of material that will help them fight the insurgents. In fact, one of the most important of them was the type of transportation we are using was not safe enough for the enemy they are fighting. So I decided that, okay, I will build on chassis, inox chassis, provide an armor that will protect the soldiers from small arms fire. Small arms such as AK-47, FM rifles that fire 7.6 to small and large do not penetrate the body, so the soldiers inside are safe. That gave me the inspiration. I began, when I approached my governor, Central Work at Tinubu, said to him, he said, "Oh, that's a good idea." And he gave me the support. I tried building the first 5. He was impressed. He gave me another 25 to build. Right. And they're now fighting.
All right. Thank you so much, Colonel. I would have loved for you to educate us on area spraying and area pest control, but sadly we're out of time. Thank you so much, Colonel Samaila Yombe Dabai, immediate past Deputy Governor of Kebbi State and former Army fighter jet pilots. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on Politics Tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.